Hello and welcome once again to the Sip and Speak podcast. I am Samantha J. Best, your host, and I have a really exciting guest here with me today. For any of you who have been, I've heard the arguments, right, about AI, and you've been like so nervous to delve into the technology, or maybe you feel a way bit behind and you're now ready to begin your AI journey. You're definitely going to want to focus and pay attention to this episode because with us is Robyn Jam Anderson, and she is an AI consultant, also has her own confidence building AI company, jamout.ai. I really love that name so very much. Welcome, Robyn, to the Sip and Speak.
Hi, Samantha. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk all about AI and how we could use it with you today.
Okay, awesome. And we are excited to learn a whole lot from you since you have been championing this cause, especially for entrepreneurs and founders. And, you know, most of us these days are in that founding journey, that entrepreneurial journey. And AI has become somewhat of our best friend for most persons who have been willing to embrace. Now, I want to start off, Robyn, with your journey because I can't, AI just kind of cropped up like about 3 years ago. So I imagine that your life's career was not always founded in AI. So if you could tell us about your journey about how you got to this space.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to. So it all started out back in 2009. I had my first agency job where I was selling websites. So it was a big learning experience for me. I had just graduated college in '07 and I was trying to figure out what to do. And I ended up at an agency that did websites and web design and marketing. And I just fell in love with it. But what I loved most was actually learning about people's businesses and figuring out ways to help the business owner. So back then, it was building these websites that today would look like trash, but back then we were really excited about them. And they cost a lot of money and they took a lot of time to make. So my job for the past 15 years at different agencies, and I owned my own e-commerce agency, was helping business owners get their business lit up online. So naturally, I kind of saw AI coming out in 2022. And after 15 years of providing websites, design, SEO, video, I saw the writing on the wall was AI was about to change everything I've ever done, like literally everything. And I decided to jump in with both feet and become a leader in this space because I've been holding the hands of business owners since the very beginning in any sort of way leading them through technology. And this is just a new version of that. So that's why I got in. And then at the same time, it's so creative. It's like a creative outlet for me. And I am loving everything about it. So that's kind of how I started Jam AI. Inside Jam AI, I have AI consulting where I'll work one-on-one with a client. And then we also have Club Jam, which is our community where you can join, and we have over 20 AI consultants. We have live training every week. We have tools that people can use because I saw that learning AI and the change management behind it has been really hard. So people don't know where to start. They want to learn. They know they need to learn, but a course or something like a book isn't super helpful because of the fast pace and change in the industry. So having this like live community has been a big game changer for a lot of people.
Okay, awesome. So we're definitely going to get more into what you do and how you help your customers, your clients. But
Yeah.
I'm a little curious, as in, so when you filled out the podcast form, it had Robyn Jam Anderson, and then the name of your company is Jam. So who adopted from who? Did you become your company, or did your company become you?
I love that question. So my nickname Jam came from in my 20s. I did a lot of karaokeing And I have this thing where I can hear a song, and if I like it, I pretty much know the words like right away. And my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, would always be like, how are you so smart? How do you know all this stuff when literally I think your brain is just full of jams? Like you're just always jamming out. Like if I'm not talking, I'm like singing something. And so he started calling me Jam. And it caught on. All my friends started calling me Jam. And fast forward 15 years later, the kids call me Mama Jam, like in the neighborhood. Everyone except for my mother, she refuses to call me that because she came up with my name Robyn and she loves it. So everyone calls me Jam. And when I started Jam AI in 2022, I had a full-time job as well. So I was like, I'm going to kind of like moonlight, do this at night, and it'll be my alter ego. So I'm going to name it Jam AI. So that's how it started.
Okay, awesome. I really like the name of your company, jamout.ai, right? So
Yep, that's it.
that's also the website if you want to check out a little more about what Robyn has to offer and what her team has to offer. So, Robyn, I spent basically over 20 years, 2 decades in professional broadcasting. And, we had that news desk, right, to provide the accuracy, which was pretty much non-negotiable. So now here comes along AI, and, the newsrooms are not like, that's like our worst enemy, right? It's like, oh, it's misinformation. You need to make sure and check everything. Do you think it's causing a lot of noise out there? And how reliable is AI in your thoughts?
Yeah, so that's where the training and understanding of AI becomes so important. There's a term called AI slop, which is when people who are unskilled or just kind of like using AI without really understanding it create content or create news or say things are facts without really understanding how they're getting the information or how the AI tool they're using is getting the information. And also people who were using AI back in 2023, ChatGPT came out to the regular user. And at that point, it was terrible because it was not able to access up-to-date information. It was pulling information from 2021 and before. So that is a worst nightmare for a news person, especially. I could see like you don't want to be searching topics and then get some news from 2021 and 2023. However, now the AI and the technology that we have in tools like Manus, Manus.im is a LLM, a large language model similar to ChatGPT and Claude that recently was just acquired by Meta. And I've been using Manus for a while, back when it was a Chinese company and kind of off the radar. But the ability that it has to scrape the web for real and timely information has been great. ChatGPT 5.2 came out, and it also has the thinking and research abilities. So the thought of, is it real information? Is it getting up-to-date information? It is, if you're using the right tools.
You mentioned that, you help people move from curiosity to implementation when it comes to AI, right? Because a lot of people are still just curious and haven't even, dipped their toe in the water just yet. But do you think AI is really making us better leaders, better in our industry, or are they just kind of making us louder versions of ourselves? Especially when we input the prompts that we think will give us the output that we want.
That's a great question. And again, it goes back to how you can actually use AI to enhance your workday. So one of the keynotes that I do is called the new workday. And it's all about identifying what you actually do throughout the day. So I suggest that people take 2 or 3 days if they can. And this sounds really tedious, but it's really important. Set a timer for every 30 minutes and just have a notepad. And every 30 minutes, write down what you were doing. And if you can do this for 2 or 3 days, it's such a great data point for what you're actually doing in your workday. And then once you have that data, you can look at it and say, out of these tasks, which ones could I actually use AI to help me save time? So if you're writing your email newsletters or worrying about social media or doing research in kind of an old-fashioned way, you can look at that and say, okay, I can save 3 hours if I figure out an AI skill for this thing. Now, the problem is people don't know what they can and can't use AI for. So that's where the training and communities come into play. But on average, the data shows that somebody who is skilled in AI saves 7.5 hours per week. So that's pretty much a whole workday comes off of their week, right? They have a whole day to reinvest in either building their business, having those really important in-person meetings, or maybe you could work on your physical health or work on a passion project in that time. So yes, the data shows that AI is helping people do more and be more human in a way because they're able to connect on a human level.
Well, that's interesting. So when you mentioned the human aspect of it, right? There are times, and we're seeing a lot on social media. So persons want to get more out there, those who didn't have the time, didn't have the know-how. And you see the posts, and you can tell right away that's an AI post, and you immediately stop reading it or don't bother to engage with it very much. Do you think it is making us lose our presence? And then, two, how do you get your uniqueness into the usage of AI? How do you still be and sound like yourself?
So that's a great question. And that's where what I teach specifically, my marketing background, comes into play. So if you were to look at my social media channels, none of it is AI from a look and feel perspective. All of my videos are taken with my camera and my microphone, and I speak directly. I make all my own content because I know as a marketing person that top of funnel, when somebody first meets you and first wants to understand who you are, they need to have a connection with you. So I believe that using AI for certain things is wrong. Like I would never go use Higgsfield and create a bunch of videos of myself for my social media content. However, all of my email newsletters, I have multiple different projects going on. I have to do a lot of custom content for certain clients, and I use AI for that. But it's trained so well on my voice and my tone and how I connect and how I teach that you wouldn't know it was AI at all. So I think the answer to your question is if you're using it unskilled, untrained, it looks like AI slop. And I'm the first one to pass a AI generated social media clip or even a bot phone call if it's not trained well.
So what I'm hearing you saying is for those who may come to jamout.ai, that there is an implementation time where you are setting up and training AI. I mean, for a busy leader, can this really be managed?
Yeah, I mean, so I have a whole section called AI marketing where we work on building your brand voice, your tone, your guidelines. I have all of my members create what's called an AI manifesto. And honestly, going through all of that would take about 4 hours. And it's really just putting in all of this information. You're answering a lot of questions. And at the end, you end up with a pretty big document that teaches the AI and the LLMs about your business, your tone, your audience, your goals, your brand colors, your fonts, everything. And so once you teach the AI and train it, then that's when you can start really creating content that doesn't look like, they just pushed in a prompt and had some gross image created and put it out on their newsletter and social.
So, Robyn, earlier when I asked about your journey, you kind of mentioned from that you embraced the technology and became this AI educator. I want to know from a founder's confidence level for the others out there, how did you bridge your own presence gap? You know, when you are navigating what is so a rapidly changing field.
Hmm. That decision came from not only seeing the writing on the wall, like I said, but it also came from fear a little bit because my husband and I were in the same industry at that time. So I was selling video and consulting and marketing at an agency, and he has his own video agency. And I think a lot of people right now have this fear of like, will I be replaced by AI? And we had a conversation and we were like, we're both in this same industry. And if something happens to it, one of us will have to pivot. And I realized that person was me because I've been working inside all the different kind of arms of marketing. And he actually makes the video. He holds the cameras. He's on set. So it was a little bit of fear. And so I can relate to other founders and other business owners when they have that fear of, will AI replace me or take my job? And the fear of, can I understand this new complex technology that is now everywhere? So when I decided to go all in, I had to find people to learn from as well. So I feel like I'm almost just giving back in a way where I've worked with developers, I can do a little bit of development, so I can take this, more complex training and break it down and make it easy to understand.
So, our community here with the Sip and Speak are a lot of founders, entrepreneurs, leaders in their own right, and sometimes persons in really high stake moments. How can, these persons normally have teams and they might
Mhm.
assign AI to their teams to get tasks done, even for, let's say, they might be preparing a speech or preparing a keynote. And now they could just tell their team member who they would know would be using AI. Is that
Mhm.
almost a risky process, do you think? And how do you think that, these leaders can maintain their unshakable authority while still depending on AI?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I do a lot of team training, and that very first thing I mentioned, is the AI manifesto. And the reason is especially for leaders. So whether you have a team or maybe you're using consultants or someone from Fiverr to handle, a small task, having this AI manifesto makes it so that when that person goes and creates your keynote or your content that you're asking them to create, it won't sound like them. It'll always sound like you. It'll always adhere to your standards, your tone, your brand. And that's really important. There's been multiple teams that have brought me in, and people don't want to point fingers, but there's always a conversation of like, we can all tell that Sarah in HR is just copy and pasting stuff from ChatGPT and sending it out, and now we don't even want to read it because it's weird. And then we also know that Jake in sales has created automations and he's not watching them, and now he's putting out some weird stuff about our company and he doesn't even know it. So that's been a big problem. And one of the first things I'll do is actually do kind of a state of the state of AI for the company and understand who's using what's the knowledge gap, what's your AI governance and policy at your company. A lot of companies have rules and regulations of just using Copilot. That's it. Well, if you tell your company they're just using Copilot, I'll bet you 85% of them are out using ChatGPT and Claude on their personal machines and figuring out a way to use that content at work. So it's all about just figuring out what works for your company and making sure that you have really policies in line so that you don't have people creating stuff that sounds crazy.
And a lot of companies and leaderships, while they want to embrace AI, they are worried about, privacy.
Hmm.
What's the reassurance when it comes to privacy with confidential company documents, information while using AI?
Yeah, so that's really important. A lot of my clients are in the financial industry, so I talk about this all the time. And if you are a big company, you can get special instances created, basically like copies of ChatGPT. That's what their enterprise versions are. So then those live on their own server. It's private, it's SOC 2 compliant, but it's super expensive. So that's not the way most people want to go. So if you are worried about security, number one, training, because your team might not know what they can and cannot upload. They might not know what the consequences are. And every platform's different. So Notebook LM is a Google product that I recommend to people who are worried about security because it's a Google product. It's part of your Google workspace. And so therefore it's 100% secure, just like your email is. So there are tools where you can get that without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a platform.
So what I'm hearing you saying is that in some instances, if I'm using a free version of ChatGPT, it's not going to be that secure. Am I correct?
It actually is secure, but it's not SOC 2 compliant, meaning it's not going to get past rules and regulations in certain industries. However, it's not like somebody's on the other side of ChatGPT reading your documents and your chats. Uh, it turns into ones and zeros after you have that chat to train the platform. So it turns into a development language. However, you may have seen some news last year where there were unfortunately some mental health issues that arose, and people were talking to ChatGPT instead of actually talking to a therapist. And in a few instances, it ended up in people losing their lives or taking their lives. Because of that, OpenAI has put in specific keywords. And so if specific keywords are said, it goes to a security human team where they can review those keywords and even reach out to that user. So there have been some things like that, but as far as like putting in your P&L for the month, nobody's going to see that. So it's fine to do.
And interesting that you said that. I did see that news where they said those mental health issues had a rise. And there was a little time that too when I needed somebody to talk to, and I did talk to my chat GPT. And
Yeah.
I actually felt a lot better after.
Oh, same. Whenever something arises that I'm unsure about in social life or just business stuff, I'll be the first to go. I actually talk to Claude now, but it's nice, and it's also cool to ask it to see the other side. Like, what is that person maybe thinking in this argument? And let me see their perspective, and that's kind of cool to have that right in front of you.
Yeah, I think it just gave me some time to cool off,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and to
No.
internalize.
Yeah. I was actually in a Uber car the other day, and the driver was telling me that he was just talking to ChatGPT about how to break up with his girlfriend, and it gave him really good advice. So he was going to use it.
Okay. I don't know. Hopefully they'll stay together. We don't.
I couldn't follow up. I don't know.
Well, we know that AI too is, pretty notorious for using lots of words and explaining things for most of us way more than it needs to. How do we train the machine to kind of respect our time and maybe even summarize or put things into one sentence? Is that possible?
Yeah, definitely. So you can do it two ways. You can go into settings and find custom instructions, and there you can tell it how to reply to you. And so you can give it specific instructions. So I agree. I thought it was way too verbose. So in mine, it says, get to the point, use bullet points, summarize what I asked you for right away. You can also do it in a prompt. So if you are just using it one off, you could say, here's my question. And then you could say, in your reply, be very specific, keep it 500 words or less.
And too, I've noticed that it tends to be very diplomatic, like really nice to me, most times. And sometimes I want somebody to be the devil's advocate. So, especially for our community where we have the leaders, let's say, you're going to go into a hostile environment, maybe into a boardroom meeting. How do I get it to, give me the realities of how I would need to negotiate in that space?
So the folks at OpenAI found that their last version, ChatGPT 4, was basically everyone's biggest fan. And so they did say in the latest version of 5.2, it is more diplomatic. It's not so much 100% on your side. It will tell you if your ideas are actually not that great. In fact, I just had a conversation with it where I thought my idea was really great, and it made me reposition it and rethink about. But it was interesting actually because I was using Manus to kind of work through a new service that I was going to offer, and I was all excited about it. And then I brought the idea to ChatGPT, and it was like, "Hold on, wait a minute. Have you thought about XYZ? And why are you doing this? And you need to focus on just one thing. You don't need another thing." And I was like, "Oh, thanks. Thanks, chat. You're right."
So, I don't know if at all you believe in perfectionism, and a lot of people will procrastinate with using AI because they're not ready yet. How does starting imperfectly work with AI? Is that even possible?
No. And in fact, I have a method that I teach people called the JAM method. And the acronym is just start, automate, monetize. And the just start is so important. The reason I came up with that is I have 250 people in my community currently that are super active. We're building together, we're learning together, and there's all these great ideas. And then there's like very little execution. And I found out the reason is people are perfectionists a lot of times, or they have to get it just right before they put it out there because they're so afraid to fail. And with AI, it's good to fail. It's like art. Like I said, it's creativity, right? You can't have a bad painting. You can't have a bad idea because it continues to reiterate and you can get it to that point. I've launched a bunch of courses that would now be terrible, but back then it was good, right? So, and I just started. I created a AI 30-day program last May, and people liked it. They went through it. It wasn't perfect. There were some mistakes, but we've continued on, and now I've re-implemented it, and it's completely different. And I wouldn't have it where it is today if I had waited. I needed to put it out there, and I needed to get feedback and change it, and now it's in a great spot.
I think you're telling the story of many of us, right? That we
Yeah.
just need to do it.
Yeah. Get over the fear and just show up. Just do it.
And that's definitely what you did and what a lot of us are doing. My
Yeah.
curiosity, well, one of the things I've noticed about using AI is that I've been using it so long. So I've been using ChatGPT, and I feel ChatGPT knows me really well
Mhm.
because of that, right? Because I've been using it from the inception. Now I'm thinking about moving to a different platform, and that would mean starting all over again and teaching this particular AI to get to know me. Is there a way to hack that?
There is. So we actually just were talking about this like last week. So you can do a prompt in ChatGPT, something like, based on all of our conversations and our history together, provide a document that explains who I am as a person. Now do the same thing. Based on all of our conversations and our history together, create a document based all about my business and what I do. And you can continue to re-prompt it based on whatever you want to transfer over to your new LLM. But it's really an insightful prompt to try.
Oh, well, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to try that because that was one of the things that was keeping me from experimenting with other platforms that
Yeah.
I've heard that, some are better than others with different capabilities.
Was there a specific platform you were looking at
I was
moving to?
looking at Gemini.
A Gemini. Yeah, so Gemini is very similar where you can create what are called gems. And so a gem is in ChatGPT, they're called custom GPTs, but they're instances of ChatGPT that you train to do a very specific thing. So when somebody says, I have an AI agent that writes all my blogs, that might be a custom GPT or gem. So Gemini makes it really easy to upload that knowledge that ChatGPT made for you, and then you can train that gem to do a specific skill, and its knowledge base already knows all about you and your company. So that's a fun little hack in Gemini.
Oh, I love it. I'm definitely going to be trying that one out. AI is everywhere. We want to look at what's going to happen in 2026. And basically, content is now being labeled as cheap. So, what becomes the most expensive and valuable asset that someone can possess at this point?
It's 100% their brand. So investing in your personal brand is going to be the most important thing because you are building something that people can follow and trust, whether it's you or a logo. But building that brand and having something that looks different than everything else is really important. You may have heard of vibe coding, which is where anyone can simply build a website or landing page just with AI, just by chatting to it. But what we're seeing is that all of these vibe coded sites and pages all kind of look the same. So if you can bring your brand and your elements of fun and your tone or whatever it is that you're bringing to the table to these vibe coding platforms, that's going to be the way that you stand apart. I think the other thing is video and events. So I think video and events are actually going to become more important because the reading content and the AI content, it's coming out like crazy, right? So to see a real authentic face and to gather in person, I think is going to become even more important as well.
And then I think sometimes the audience gets confused because I have posted many a video and I would see some, I don't know if it's bots doing it, and they will put AI in the comments. And I'm like, am I doing this too perfect that I look like AI? What?
Right.
People are getting slightly confused. They don't know who or what to trust. So, how do you really express yourself or show yourself now and let people know this is a real person with real thoughts?
Yeah, I can relate. Sometimes when I do webinars in the comments, they'll be like, is she AI? What's going on? Um, I think it's authenticity and being funny and making sure that you have your personality showing through in the videos. The video has gotten so real that it's hard. I think also, yes, to some point, like you don't have to be so perfect, especially when it comes to social media video. I think walking outside, showing a big thing is multi-screen. So showing you and then showing what you're looking at has been a big trend so far this year. But yeah, it's getting harder and harder to tell what's real and what's not, especially with some of our older generation. My mother-in-law and my mom are constantly sending me things. It's like, is this real? And sometimes it takes me a minute before I can say yes or no.
So then what do you think the future is going to look like to help people distinguish between what's AI and what's not AI, or is it always going to be blurry?
I think it's always going to be blurry. And I think it's important to know that there's been B-roll and not real content in things for a long time. So, for instance, TV shows, commercials, movies, they've been using bot B-roll, so clips that are on sites that people can buy, and it's not been real. And the difference is they shoot real people, and now instead of purchasing B-roll, they can generate whatever it is that they're trying to do. So I think it's going to be blurry, and I think it has been blurry, and maybe we just didn't talk about it as much.
We are aware now that,
Yes.
and that's what I always said that. I said that industries where people seemed leaps and bounds ahead, I think they had the access to the technology long before we did.
Yeah,
And then,
no, it's true.
and then why do you think that they decided that they gave it to the public when they did?
I think they had been working on this technology for decades. It's not new. It's really not new. It got to the point where they were like, wow, these individuals, the public, can actually use this. Now, I think the entire industry and even the C-levels at OpenAI and Anthropic, they're shocked at how fast it's moved, and the community behind it of these AI developers have just gotten so passionate about it that it's moving super fast. And what we're seeing now are these launches of AI tools that we're not ready for as a society. So, for instance, just last weekend, a new tool came out called OpenClaw. And basically, it's a AI agent that you can install on a computer and tell it to do something, and it takes over your whole computer and will do it. So what happened was the AI hype bros, I like to call them, which are basically all the people on TikTok and Instagram that just want to be the first to try the AI tool. They all jumped on board. They installed OpenClaw. They all had to go buy their Mac minis for this tool because you can't put it on a machine that has access to all your stuff. So they put it on and it started doing things that they were not authorizing. So for instance, one guy's AI bot went and purchased a bunch of Alex Hermosi courses. It spent $6,000 with his Apple Pay. Another guy, it started ordering coffees because it knew he liked coffees from Starbucks. And so Starbucks was like, you have like 57 coffees at our establishment. So it's these things where they come out and people get excited about it, but they don't necessarily understand the risks behind it. So one thing that I like to do is have responsible and applicable AI. So everything that we'll teach and that I show is tested. And if it's not, just an LLM, we talk about the risks because I want people to know before they go in. So yeah, it's moving fast and it's really an exciting industry.
Do you think the AI or the usage of the AI has the capability for us to be more human and more social?
Yeah, in fact, when I first started Jam AI, that was my mission, was AI for us to be more human. And the reason it's not my mission right now is because I can't figure out how to get there 100% yet. The AI still needs a lot of work, a lot of babysitting. I can save 7 or 8 hours a week, but I still work a lot. We're not at the point where AI is doing everything and I'm out playing with my kids and going to coffee and getting my nails done. Like, no, I'm still working a lot. But the data where we're at now shows 1 day a week about that it frees up. So what you choose to do at that time can make you more human. So I do believe that.
I think what it does for me is that it's almost like, you get so much satisfaction when it gives you what you want or didn't expect. And then you're like, almost like a little high. You're like, okay, I'll keep working and I'll keep working. And
I
you're like
can't
a
agree
hamster
with
on the
that more.
treadmill, right?
Totally. I can't agree with that
Yeah.
more.
So,
There's days where I kind of want to give up sometimes because I have the opposite where I'm like, oh, this thing's so cool. I'm going to try it. And I waste, 12 hours, maybe a few $100s, and I just want to like give up. But then I have days like today where I learned skills in Manus and I'm like, holy crap, this is such an amazing thing. It was easy to set up. It took 30 minutes. And now I don't have to write blogs, newsletters, or social posts ever. Like it completely changed my workflow just today. So I got a little high from that for sure.
okay, awesome. So
Yeah.
why would the world still need leaders in their craft? People who are top in their industries, who have the knowledge when technically you can put a prompt in AI and you could be anybody. And it
Yeah.
could be anybody for you. It could be your business manager. It could be a chef to give you recipes. It could be your health and diet nutritionist.
hmm
Why would the world still need us, the experts?
Yeah. Good question. The experts are the experts who understand AI are finding multiple new streams of revenue that then they could charge for while still delivering their personal perspective and in-person experience. So an example of that would be, I said I work a lot in the financial industry. So there's a lot of people I work with who are boomers and they're super successful. They're kind of like, why would I learn this new tool right now? Well, because you can actually train a tool on your knowledge, upskill your team faster, train your team faster, teach them the lessons that you've had to learn over the last 50 years. And now you have more time to focus on growing your business, investing into your business, meeting your clients, going to trade shows. So that's why it's not necessarily replacing leaders, it's elevating leaders. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So you could be, even better. And
Exactly. Yeah. So, for instance,
very
can
awesome.
I give one more example?
Yeah,
Because I
go
really
ahead.
like this subject. So, the other example is so in my group, I do AI consulting, but I only have so much time. I have 2 kids. I run the group. I have a couple side projects. So, I created an AI consultant of myself. So, I trained this AI on everything I've ever done, all my workbooks. I've spent a lot of time with this AI. And now my members can go ask it questions that they would ask me, and it would give answers just like I would give them. So
Oh,
it's another way to teach people.
oh, and which platform did you do this in?
So that one's on something called 11 Labs because I wanted it to have a voice. So you can type with it, but you can also just talk with it like a phone call and say, questions like, what's the best AI platform to create videos? And I'll have a whole conversation with you and be like, let me understand your business better before I answer that. And we'll go back and forth and then I'll tell them the answer.
Oh, I really like this. This is like if you want to, like, you scale your labor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, my customer service rep is the same thing. So if somebody's lost, they go there. Of course, if they still don't get the answer, they can connect with me, but it saved me a lot of time.
Wow, yeah, that one is really interesting. This is for all the people who feel like, they don't have enough time to do it all, right?
Oh,
The solopreneurs.
solopreneurs and the parenting solopreneurs. I feel ya.
If there's an industry leader, it could be an expert, it could be someone looking to climb the ladder, and they are already feeling left behind when it comes to AI. What would you advise them to first do, like from tomorrow morning?
If they've never used it at all, I would say start using anything. If you asked me this question a month ago, I'd say start in ChatGPT. But today I would say start in Manus. It's manus.im. And just start by asking it simple questions and get to understand how it works and what it's like to have a conversation. I truly believe that learning AI is a personal journey, and it's something that people are feeling forced to do at work sometimes. It's a change management situation, and we all know a lot of people don't like change. So, my biggest advice would be spend 10 minutes a day in one tool. And once you get comfortable with that tool, expand into another and try to learn at least 3 that make sense to know. You can even ask that first tool based on everything that we've talked about and what you know about me. What other AI tools might be helpful to help me get my work done? And just go from there.
Jam, we're about to wind up just a bit. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention that, may have slipped us?
I would just say that There are statistics showing that 65% of people in a workplace have asked for AI training and they're not getting it. And the reason is a lot of professional organizations don't know where to start. And they might be being pressured by big companies like Accenture for their AI programs. And statistically, people are not finishing those. Um, Learning in a group has been an amazing situation. We've gamified our learning. We have monthly challenges. We're meeting live today for AI 101. It's been a great way to learn from each other. And if it's not my group, I would tell you to find an accountability partner and just learn together. It's so much better to learn together.
Awesome. Before I
Yeah.
go, I just want to ask, woman to woman, what's it like, being a founder of this awesome company, having a husband, managing your family, your friends, your social life. Uh, what's what's that like?
It's so fun, so exhausting, rewarding. It's a lot of logistics. My life feels like logistic planning, and I wouldn't trade it in. It's been a super exciting journey, and I'm lucky to be here. And I really appreciate you having me today, and I loved meeting you, and I'm hoping that we can connect again in the future.
Definitely we will, because you're definitely somebody I have to learn. As much as I think I know, you always have to keep upskilling, right?
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. And
it's crazy the things that you'll learn because it's like you don't know what you don't know. You wouldn't know what to search for in this industry.
yeah, and for an example, like I was always using ChatGPT, and I think only for a week I was focused on Gemini. And
Hmm.
something like an old conversation I wanted to check up on, I went back to ChatGPT and I was like, they had this like a pop up with a new feature. And I was like, wait, I was just gone a week.
Yeah, I know.
And there's something new
Every
in
day.
here already.
There's something new every day. It's always changing. And so I love staying on top of that, but it also drives me crazy.
Robyn, for those who would like to move from curiosity to implementation, how can they find their jam?
Oh, I love that. Thank you. So just go to jamout.ai and we actually offer a 7-day free trial. So just go ahead and click on that. You can join our community, you can join our meetings, you can see our tools and teaching all for free for 7 days. And if you like it, stay. And if not, that's fine. It's not everyone's jam, but we have a good time for those who like to stay.
Oh, that's amazing. Combining AI with community and real people and real
Mhm.
mentors and a real team, I think that is absolutely awesome.
It has been. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Robyn Jam Anderson of jamout.ai. Thank you so much for the intel. Stay ready and stay ahead. And thank you for being here on the Sip and Speak.